they get too early on Boston, and then Boston comes back and then wins a few games, and it seems like the momentum shifted. But coming into Game 7, I mean, they were playing no guts, no glory. You know what I mean? I mean, it was all out. I mean, this is it. It's where I go home. So Carolina straps the skates on. They get out there and they just play Carolina hockey. I mean, it goes into overtime and they score a goal with 3 minutes left into the overtime. I believe it was like 1 minute and 33 seconds left in the first overtime, and they take the series. They're ready to move on and face the Pittsburgh Penguins. There, I think, and I said this before. I mean, I knew Carolina was a team to watch out for, but I don't think that they can take Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh's playing the way that they are, and Sidney Crosby, I mean, the man is amazing. On these skates, the man is amazing. It just makes it look so easy. I don't know how he does it. The man is amazing. He's got 12 goals and 9 assists so far in this playoff. 21 points. I mean, he's a kid still. That's why I call him Sidney Kid. I don't think Carolina can withstand the amount of offensive force that Pittsburgh will put on them in this series. And I think Pittsburgh will ultimately take the series. I think Pittsburgh will take it in 5.
Oh my goodness! So yeah, talking about Sidney Kid, let's talk about the last series that he was just in with him and Alex Ovechkin. A very highly anticipated series, a good series, where both of them were outstanding. Sid takes it in the end. How'd you feel about that series there? You called the Penguins too, though, might I add. But how did you feel about that series?
It was a great series up until Game 7. I mean, it was such a great series. Washington didn't show up in their last game. In Game 7, they did not show up. That shows right there. I mean, Pittsburgh was there last year. You know what I mean? Pittsburgh was in the NHL Finals, Stanley Cup Finals last year. So they know what they have to do to get it done. And it just seems like Washington doesn't have enough big-name players. And I don't want to have to put the onus on the fact that Pittsburgh has big-name players, but big-name players make big plays. And Alex Ovechkin could not do it all on his own. In Game 7, he couldn't do it all on his own. So Pittsburgh, with this lineup that they have, I mean, they got Jordan Staal, they got Evgeny Malkin, they got, of course, Sidney Crosby. You know what I mean? With the players that they have on that ice at all times, you have to bring your A game. And Washington brought I don't know what kind of game they brought. They just didn't show up at all.
I hear you. No. So basically, they kind of season kind of washed out in a similar way to the Miami Heat, trying to put it all on Dwayne Wade to pull them through in Game 7.
Yes, I agree with you 100% on that. That's exactly what they did.
Okay, so that's it for good Alex. I mean, great player, though. Wonderful, wonderful player. He's going to have a great career. Before we get to who I want to talk about, let's talk about these Blackhawks, man, because they're scaring me right now. I got goosebumps over these guys, man. Let's talk about the Blackhawks.
Well, the Blackhawks and I'm sorry, I know you're out there in Michigan, the Blackhawks owe the Detroit Red Wings a good thumping. If you remember, I believe it was New Year's Day, was it not? They had the outdoor classics. They played outside, and Detroit comes to Chicago and just stomps a mud hole in Chicago. I mean, the young Chicago team, they stomped a mud hole in them. And the way I look at it is Chicago takes that loss. I know they played them again later on in the season, but, I mean, this was prime time. Everybody's watching this game. It was an outdoor classic, and I know they played them later on in the season, but Detroit still had their number pretty much the rest of the season. But, when you get to postseason, man, it doesn't matter what you did the other 82 games. It matters now. You know what I mean? And Chicago is playing good hockey, but I don't think Chicago's playing good enough hockey, unfortunately, to beat the Detroit Red Wings. I'm looking for a 7-game series. I want to see a great 7-game series. I want to see every game go into overtime. That's what I want to see. But do I think Chicago has enough veteran leadership on that team to get them to the Stanley Cup Finals? No, I don't. But they're going to get Detroit. They're going to give Detroit some strokes. They really are. They're going to give Detroit a hard time. I really believe they will. Do
you feel that Chicago's better than the Ducks?
Right now, I'm going to have to say that's a toss-up. I mean, that's a very good question, Dizz. Do I think Chicago's better than the Ducks? I think Chicago fundamentally plays better than the Ducks do, the Ducks were just on. I mean, the Ducks had to fight to get into the playoffs too, just like the Carolina Hurricanes did. And the Ducks beat a good San Jose team, which was #1 coming into the playoffs here. They took, they beat San Jose pretty good there too. And then they take, the defending champs Detroit Red Wings to 7 games. I mean, Anaheim was playing good hockey, really good, real good sound hockey, good goaltending. You know what I mean? Do I think that Chicago is playing better hockey than Anaheim? Fundamentally, Chicago is playing better hockey than Anaheim. Yes. So I think that's where Detroit is. I mean, I think Anaheim is playing more on heart and skill. I mean, they got good players, Teemu Solani. I'm not going to name drop every player, but they have good players on that team. But you're looking at. I look at Anaheim as being a finesse hockey team, and Detroit being a hard-nosed, original 6 style hockey team, where I'm going to smash you into the boards and take the puck from you. Whereas I look at Anaheim as the kind of team that, the old 80s Edmonton Oilers with Wayne Gretzky and Yari Curry and Mark Messier, where there was a lot of skating around and passing the puck and everything looked so pretty. Chicago is playing hard-nosed, I'm going to smash you against the boards kind of hockey, just like Detroit is. So I think fundamentally, that's what I look for fundamentally in the game of hockey is the H, first off, in hockey is hit. And I'm going to hit you and take that puck from you. I didn't really see a lot of it. I mean, Anaheim played with a lot of heart, but I think when it comes down to it, you need to play the fundamentals. The fundamentals of the game is I'm going to take you off of that puck, right, and I'm going to take it down in your zone, and I'm going to score on you.
Exactly. So that's where it basically was. So where that leaves us now would be Red Wings versus the Blackhawks. Oh man, Penguins in Carolina. Let's start with Penguins Carolina. How many games and who? What do you think?
I think it's going to go 5 games, and I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I think it's going to go 5 games. Pittsburgh is on such a high right now with just the way that they're playing their hockey. I mean, they hit you, and they can play that finesse style. And I don't think Carolina has the ability to be able to withstand the offensive pressure that Pittsburgh is going to put on them. So I'm going to have to take Pittsburgh in 5.
Okay. And let's go to the other series, man. Just touch on it one more time, man. Blackhawks, Red Wings. Final answer.
Red Wings in 6, but it's going to be a great series. I'm going to love to watch this series. I really am.
I'm going to love the commentary on it.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Said I'm going to love the commentary on it.
Oh yeah. You're definitely going to love that. Yeah, definitely Red Wings in 6.
Okay, Red Wings in 6. So let's talk comparison a little bit. I know that there's a lot of things going on about Sid and Ovechkin. What would you say Sid rates to you? Now, I know you can't just plug him in top whatever yet because he's very, very early in his career. But
right,
potential-wise, who does he kind of remind you of, and what type of players does he bring to mind when you watch him on the ice?
I put together 2 kind of players when I watch Sidney Crosby play. I think of the finesse style of Wayne Gretzky. I mean the way that he just would skate around with that puck, it just made it look so natural to him. So he's got that kind of style, but yet he's got the physicalness of like a Mario Lemieux. I don't know if you remember, Mario Lemieux not only was a great scorer, but the man played physical as well. So he's got the physical attributes of a Mario Lemieux, you know what I mean, and the technique of a Wayne Gretzky. So I mean, I'm gonna have right now, young in his career, I'm gonna put him. I gotta rank him in the top. I gotta rank him in the top 20 of all time right now, as far as offensive hockey players.
And that's already.
Yeah, already. I'm going to have to. I have to. I mean, look what he's done so far in his short career. This is the second time now that he has brought his team close to the Stanley Cup Finals. The second time. He got there last year. This year, he's going to get there again this year. I mean, I know it's not all on him. He's got other players on that team as well. But he is their captain. He is their leader. And for a young man, he's leading that team right.
Okay, so now on the other side, let's talk about his double negative. Alex Ovechkin, which is still a great player. See, a lot of people, when a team loses a series late in the playoffs, they kind of tend to treat the players on those teams like they're not good.